Hi, I'm TJ Miller, and today I'm going to be talking about the firefighters in the California wildfires. First, we'll take a look at what being heroic means and what can be defined as a heroic act. The definition of heroism, according to Arthur Ashe, is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost. For example, a heroic act can be a man jumping in front of a bus to push a child out of the way. This act is heroic because the guy jumping in front of the bus is not thinking about how the action could help him, or rather, he's thinking about how the action could help the child. But heroic acts don't have to be just very brave acts, it can also be selfless acts and helping other people at the expense of yourself. One real life example of someone displaying heroic traits is Rosa Parks when she sat in front of the bus. This was heroic because she did it for the greater good and didn't care about what would happen to her after. The next example brings me to what I'm talking about today, and that's firefighters. Firefighters risk their lives saving other people every day. This is one of the most heroic acts that can be done. So many things can go wrong when running into a fire to save someone, but they still do it every day. Anyways, California wildfires in 2020 were California's biggest wildfires ever, and it took around 15,000 firefighters to aid in the stopping of the fire. In the end of it all, 31 people were dead and 10,000 structures were destroyed. The high impact areas were difficult to escape from. For weeks, a thick smoke hung in the atmosphere for hundreds of miles. The air quality in those areas were among the worst in the world. Researchers estimated that there were hundreds of excess deaths in cities across the West Coast. A firefighter's job is not simply to wait around until there is a fire and people need saving. They train constantly to be ready for when a fire erupts. By saying that firefighters are heroes in waiting, they are prepared and ready to go when the time comes. They are willing to risk their own lives to save others. Firefighters must be good critical thinkers and problem solvers. They must think on the fly and figure out what the best course of action is when either saving someone or putting out the fire. When they are handling a fire, they must use good visual communication because they might not be able to hear each other over the fire and have to use signals instead. Lastly, they must have good oral communication as well because or so they will all remain on the same page the whole time and they can effectively get the job done. There are a lot of things that can be learned from firefighters. One one thing we learn from firefighters is that being heroic is contagious, and when people see something heroic happen, it can inspire them to make their own heroic actions. As Phil Zamboni said in his TED Talk, he stated that there's a big group when there's a big group of people and something goes wrong, often no one will do anything. Once one person steps up and takes actions, the other people will follow behind them. This can be related back to firefighters because they are always ready to take action. They inspire a lot of other people. Just seeing someone run into a fire to save a person is one of the most selfless and inspirational things to do. Another thing we learn from firefighters is to be a good influence. Firefighters are one of the best influences on people. Being a good influence can make it possible to affect many other lives in a good way, especially with kids. If children have enough good influences, they're more likely to be a good influence for other people as well. An example of firefighters influencing people to be heroes themselves was seen during the California wildfires. A heroic citizen decided that he could help too. He set up a 40-foot camper with generators to cook hot meals and started to take donations for all the firefighters. All in all, firefighters are heroic, take action no matter the cost, and are great influences. We can learn a lot from firefighters. In events where you might need to be heroic, just try to use good critical thinking and problem solving, and be sure to use good communication skills like firefighters do every day. Thank you for watching.